Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We've been working on the garden. It's coming together. We pretty much got it all set up. There's a few things we're lacking, but that's usual in a garden, right? You're always lacking something. We got to put some chips between the rows over here, but we got it pretty much all set up, and we planted a lot of it yesterday. We got the corn planted, and we got a bunch of stuff planted over there. I'll do a video and show you what all we got planted, but I just wanted to give you a quick look at this. What I really want to do is, I want to address a comment that I got on the last video from a viewer. Louise left this comment right here, and Louise suggested that we put earthworms in the garden to help break up the clay conditions, and that is an excellent idea. I mean, earthworms are great for your garden, and they break up clay conditions. They condition your soil so other organisms can move in. So I really appreciate that comment. However, earthworms are like every other creature here on the planet. They have to have certain environmental conditions to survive. So if you have nothing but straight clay and you go down to your local garden center and get some earthworms and put them in your garden, more than likely one of two things is going to happen. Either your earthworms are going to die, or they're going to move on and find better living conditions. So you want to kind of condition your soil before you go and spend money and buy worms to throw them in your garden. Worms need moist soil that stays moist even through drought, most of the time always moist, and they need organic material as food. So you want to go ahead and condition your soil to those conditions before you add your worms. Now, clay will get real hard and it'll form a crust, and if you get a heavy rain, your worms can actually drown in the soil because they can't make it to the surface when it gets too wet. If you noticed, after a heavy rain, you'll see the earthworms on the top of the ground because they come up out of the ground so they don't drown as the ground gets saturated. They also need lots of organic materials so that they can feed. That's their food. So clay doesn't offer any really organic material in it at all, so they'll probably starve to death or drown or just move on. So you want to add a lot of organic material to your soil that really helps build structure for your worms. And once you get the conditions right for the worms, they'll come from the ground from other places, and they'll come into your garden because it's the best living conditions for them. So you want to kind of prepare your soil, and then your worms will come. If you get your soil to a state where your worms can survive, now then you could go down to your local garden center and get some worms and put them in there, and that'll help speed up the process. But if you don't have the right conditions for your worms, they're just gonna die. So I always add a lot of organic material to the garden. The fenced in area over there, we planted the first year. That's been 3 years now. And there was a few worms in there when we first tilled it up, but now there's an abundance of worms in there because the soil is starting to get conditioned for them. Over here, there was maybe 1 or 2 worms because this is the first time we're planting it this year. And as the soil gets better, the worms will come. So I mean, like I said, you can buy some worms and put them in your garden and it'll speed up the process. But if you just condition your soil, they'll come on their own. It might take a little bit longer. But organic material, that's the key. So I'm gonna show you a little thing that I do, and it works great. So let me show you this. And my son gets this cardboard from work. Now, he can't get it all the time. He gets it every now and then, and he only gets so much. But cardboard is made from trees, and trees are organic material. So this is the best thing to put in your garden right here, is cardboard. Worms love this. They get in between these layers, and they eat this, and they live in this. And I mean, cardboard is awesome for your garden. So what I like to do is I like to take this cardboard, and like I said, I only get so much of this. If I got as much as I want, I'd put it in between every row, and I'd put the wood chips over it, and it would be in every row. But because I only get a limited amount of this, I like to use it around the edges of the garden, because you get this creeping grass that creeps up into your garden from the edges, and this is just an extra barrier that helps keep that from happening, at least as fast. So what I'll do is I'll put this cardboard down on the edge here like that, and I'll cover that with wood chips. And as I water, that cardboard will get wet, it'll break down, it'll feed the ground, the worms will come, live underneath it, eat it, and it works so good. So if you're trying to build your soil structure for worms, cardboard is the way to go. Now you don't want to leave it exposed to the air, because when the sun comes out, it dries it out, and then it becomes flaky and it starts to break up and blow all around your yard. You want to cover it with something. Even if you use your garden soil to cover it and bury it in there. But I like to use wood chips because that just adds another layer for the worms to eat, and also keeps the moisture in even more with the wood chips on top. So that's a little tip. Anything organic, put it in your garden. Leaves, pine needles. Be careful with the pine needles. They're very acidic. You don't want to just put a whole bunch of pine needles in your garden. Leaves, as many leaves as you can put in there, the better. Leaves break down fast. They're great organic material. Like I said, the wood chips are really good, but they break down slower, and you don't want to bury the wood chips in your garden. As the wood chips break down, they need nitrogen, and if they're buried under the soil, then they'll pull the nitrogen from the soil, which will starve your plants of nitrogen. If they're on top of the soil like this, they'll pull the nitrogen from the air, and they'll be able to break down a little bit slower than if they're buried, but they won't pull all the nitrogen out of your soil. So put your wood chips on top. Don't till them into the ground. Put them on top. Keep them wet throughout the year. As they break down, then you can till them into the ground. But make sure they're 80% broke down before you till them into the soil. That's one reason why over here in the corn that I didn't till that into the soil. I just spread it and built my rows on top, because the wood chips weren't broke down enough to till into the ground. So hopefully by this winter, I'll be able to till all those in, and it'll make some rich organic soil for me. Okay, so I just wanted to address that comment. Louise, thank you so much for commenting. I really do appreciate it. I hope this helped everybody that was thinking about getting worms for their garden. And like I said, worms are awesome, but you gotta have a structure for them to survive. So build your soil up a little bit first, then go get your worms, or the worms will come on their own. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, all notifications, and we'll see you on the next one.